Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tanya Williams in the Office of Early Childhood at the Department of Ed. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know we'll have folks joining probably for the next few minutes. So, welcome to the June provider call. We have quite a few folks that are going to be talking, and I know there's some information that may take just a moment. So, I am just going to say welcome. I hope everybody's doing well, and I'm going to toss it over to my colleague, Paul Lazenby at the Arkansas Early Childhood Association to talk about Teach.
Hey, good afternoon. So thanks, Tanya. Appreciate it and appreciate the opportunity just to give an update on Teach since I've not been able to do that in a little while. We are still rocking and rolling at the Teach Scholarship Office. We are continually having somewhere between 300 and 350 scholarship students every semester. And it looks like we are on track to do that for the fall. We've got about 250 doing summer school this summer. Um, as far as our wait list goes, we do have about 36 on the wait list that we're still waiting to see if we'll process for fall or not. Most of those are waiting on things like either a piece of their application that was incomplete or they're waiting on their admission notice from the college. Our team will be working on those as quickly as possible once we get everything we need to process. Um, if if you're interested in fall and have not submitted your application, it may not happen at this point just because we do have still have so many on the wait list. But I would say it's not too early at all to be thinking about spring 26 if you're interested in going back to school or you have staff that are interested. Spring 26 is a great that gives a lot of time to get your teach application done and work on college admissions. So we encourage you to do that if that's something you're interested in. You can contact our office either by email or phone. I'll put the email and phone number in the chat there. If you have any questions about Teach or applying or what the process is, please reach out one of those two ways, and me or my staff will be glad to help you. The one other thing about Teach I really wanted to emphasize today, especially those of you on the call that may have Teach Scholars in your program or you yourself are a Teach Scholar, is the use of other financial aid along with Teach. Um, Teach is very compatible with other means of financial aid, and by that I mean Pell Grants or other scholarships. We have a lot of our scholars that are eligible for Pell Grants that help them with some other expenses like books and just general living expenses through the semester. And those two things work very well with Teach. We don't mind students combining the Pell Grants and the other scholarships. We allow you to use those. What we usually do is we pay the school in full, deduct your copays, and then anything else the school gives you in financial aid is usually sent to you as a refund. Um, the one financial aid that we are really discouraging at this point are the student loans. We've had several students take those out, and it really does add to the overall burden. And it's really incompatible with the vision of Teach in that we are here to help you secure a debt-free college education. And we certainly don't want our scholars, our providers taking on more debt than what they might already have. Um, I know it's very tempting if you've applied for financial aid before at a college, you know, sometimes you'll get that financial aid letter back. And they'll say you're eligible for a loan of $5,000, $6,000. And that's for a lot of people, that's just really too good to resist. And they'll say, sure, you know, they'll accept it and they'll get that $5,000 check without realizing how long it's going to take them to pay that back. Um, you know, if you've taken out student loans, again, you know, you can be paying them on those for years. The repayment terms are often very murky, very cloudy. The interest rates are exorbitant, and you end up paying back way more than you borrow. So we really discourage our scholars from taking out the loans. Teach covers, you know, generally everything you need. Our students are working full time, so they're drawing a salary. Uh, Teach is usually covering 80 to 90% of tuition and fees. You're paid an incentive. So really the financial supports are there where we really hope people don't feel the need to accept those loans. If you get a financial aid notice from the college and it includes a loan and you're just not really sure, or you think you may need it for something else like an emergency situation, of course, our staff will visit with you about that. And there's been occasion where we have approved that if there's been a a dire situation. But generally, we like it to work with everybody with the financial aid that we get through Teach and through the Pell Grants. So anyway, that's my spiel on financial aid. I just it's just good to remind people that we will reduce the Teach scholarship. Usually, if we see that somebody has accepted a loan, we'll usually reduce the Teach scholarship to allow those resources for somebody else, because Teach is designed for people that don't have any other means to go back to school. Right. The one other thing I wanted to mention is just a reminder on Step Up to Wages. I've talked about this for a few months now, that this program is being phased out, and June is our last month that we will be paying the wage supplement. So the last commitment group that ends this month, that will be the group that gets the final payments, and those payments will start going out to this group the latter part of this month, sometime after June 15th, and we'll continue to pay those into July until everybody is covered. So if you have a commitment period that ends this month, we will be sending out verifications to the employers after the 14th and start making those payments. So yeah, I think that's everything I've got, but I'll be glad to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Thanks, Paul. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and Paul will be on with us and he can try to respond and get you the answers that you need. And we really appreciate you and all that you're doing with Teach and helping our workforce improve their credentials and education, Paul, so much. I think next up is Dawn Jeffrey from the Office of Early Childhood, who is the leader on licensing and background checks. So, Dawn, I'll let you go. I know she has some updates for you all about the enterprise licensing system.
Yes. So I'm going to have Allison Nash and Deborah Reed are going to get on here just a minute and have a slideshow. This will be recorded, so you will be able to go back and reference to it also. But before we talk about ELS, I just want to remind everybody it's June and it's fixing to be hot. So can't stress to you enough about transportation. If you are taking children anywhere, big kids, little kids, any children in any type of a vehicle, check, double check, triple check, and make sure you do not leave a child in a van or a bus or any type of vehicle. I cannot stress that enough. It would just be a horrible, horrible thing. So before we talk about ELS, I just want to remind everybody to always check and double check. So let's talk about updates in ELS. You will be able to see maybe within the next couple of weeks, when you go in and you look at staff now, you are not able to filter them or move them around. They're really not, they're just kind of in a random order. That's fixing to happen, where you'll be able to filter your current staff, your staff that no longer works there. That is coming, so be watching for it. If you are an ABC provider, you now can go in and check on the staff that are ABC. You can check on that and check that staff works in an ABC classroom. And what that does is when we come to monitor that classroom, we're going to know that the possible ratio for that classroom might be different for other classrooms. You can now add their education too. So those are 3 updates that have, are pretty recent. Allison Nash and Deborah Reed are fixing to give you a presentation on all things ELS that are ways that you can work on your portal, because we have people who have difficulty sometimes getting back into it. Again, this will be recorded, so you can always reference back to it. I will put Allison and Deborah's email in the chat. They are more than willing to help you at any time. So Keeler, if we will give Allison and Deborah a host, they will be able to do their slideshow. And you can always reach out to me if you have questions. I think I'll put my email in the chat too. I may not always know the answer on ELS, but I can always find it. All right.
Okay, Allison and Deborah, you both have co-host access at this point. Or if you want, I can move the slide, advance the slides for you.
I think Allison, if it's possible, she's going to share it with everybody so she can kind of move it at her speed, if that's all right.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Is it sharing?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Just 1 second. This screen was what I needed. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Nash, and I'm going to be sharing information today about the provider portal. Deborah is on here with me, and she is going to answer any questions in the chat that you might have. Specifically, we are going to talk about managed facilities. So when you log into ELS and you are on the provider portal and you go to manage under childcare, it pops up to a new screen where you can see start applications, managed facilities, and online payments. If you go under managed facilities, you should be able to see all of your programs. Some of you may have more than one. So you should see a full list of all of your programs. And so if you want to see the facility details for those programs, you would click on view to the right of the name of the program.
Hey, Allison, hold up a second. Okay, it's never mind. It's going forward. I was afraid it wasn't
Okay.
going
Yeah,
forward
I
on the
just want to tell
slideshow.
them how to get there. And so we're going to specifically talk about 5 different tabs under managed facilities: director information, staff records, enrollment and operations, documentation, and then your daily rate information. Okay, so updating director information. So under this tab, and you'll see all the tabs listed on the left, you can see the directors that you currently have listed. You can add new directors by selecting Add New, or you can update the information on those directors that you currently have. So if you have, maybe they completed director orientation courses, you can go into those directors and add in that information. You can also in-date directors, add site supervisors. Now, if you want an administrator to be added, you would need to contact your licensing specialist to get that person added to ELS. The director will also, or the owner will also have ability to give portal access to that director. Updating staff records. Staff records was a recent enhancement in ELS. And so what it does is it gives you, as the director or owner, the ability to add employees. You can enter your staff information by clicking Add New. And then once you open up, when you push Add New, it will look like this. Now, all of the information that has a red asterisk by it is required information to save that staff record. After you've saved the staff person, you can then add their background checks. It says report or add new external checks. External checks are your background checks. So it says my external checks, and then you're able to report new external checks. The really neat feature about ELS for this is that as those background checks come due, oh no. Can you guys still see my screen? Did it click you out?
It's coming back, Allison.
Oh,
You were on 6, slide 6.
6. Thank you, Deborah. Let's see, presenter view. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, what I was saying was the really neat feature about ELS is that as background checks come due, you will actually get an alert saying that this staff record needs an update. And so it helps you to kind of keep track of your background checks. Okay, so the next tab we're going to speak of is enrollment and operations. So under this tab, you're able to update the curriculum that your program utilizes. You can add the number of children served and the student to teacher ratio. And so as you pull up the screen, all of the sections that are white are available for you to type in and add information. Okay. Updating documentation. So you can update inspections by uploading new inspections right into your portal. If you click the edit pencil or add attachments, you can either drag and drop a file into this document section, or if it's a saved document on your computer, you can upload it. Once you upload the document, it automatically notifies your specialist that you have uploaded something into your facility. Okay. Updating daily rate information. On the daily rate information tab, you can update, change, or even end date your rates. Now, when you're updating this information, be careful not to select the little trash can or it will trash your rate and it will no longer be available to you. If you edit your rate, it comes up with a start rate date and an end rate date. Also, be sure that you do not add an end date to your rate. Otherwise, it cancels the rate out. If that happens, contact your licensing specialist. We will be able to assist you to get the rate back into where you can see it, and we will be able to fix it. So this is what it looks like when you open up to edit. All of the white fields are areas that you can update. If it has a red asterisk next to it, it is required information before you can save.
This is Sherry, may I help you?
Okay. And the last tab we're going to speak of is related links. Under the related links tab, you can view your notices.
The provider meeting's going on.
Okay, Allison, you can unmute your mic.
There we go. Can you hear me? Okay. Under the related links tab, you're able to view your notices, view your visits, view complaints, complaint outcomes. You can submit provider reported incidents. You can submit a request for an alternative compliance, and you can submit a change of information request. Once you do view a newly posted notice, so if a specialist makes a visit to your program and completes the visit, it automatically goes into newly posted notices. But once you view it, it will be under viewed notices. If you are going to submit a provider reported incident, know that if you push submit, it submits it that first time. If you continue to push submit, we will receive every time you push submit on our side, we will get every one of those. So that's just helpful information. Once you push submit, we do get it. If you have a change of information, so if you want to change the name of your program, or maybe you're updating the address, the zip code, that information will come as a change of information to us. And it has to be approved before the change will actually take effect. Okay. For anyone on the call who is interested in applying, we have included the website the link for you to go to start the application process and create a provider account. You can also use the QR code. It will take you directly to our website for the provider portal. Everything we've covered today, we actually have in an ELS guide. If you would like that information, please scan the QR code. It will even provide pictures, detailed information for you to use as a provider. I'll give you guys a few seconds to scan it. And I'm not sure if we can add this in the chat, but maybe we can. I can really leave this up. The last part of our presentation is any questions that you may have. I know Deborah is checking the chat box, but Deborah and I are always welcome to help you. Of course, you have your specialists and they have supervisors, and all of them are very helpful as well. But if you ever get stuck, please reach out to us. We are happy to assist.
So, Allison, there was a question in here about should subs be entered in ELS for the staff members? And I would enter them. You're able to designate, what type of employee they are. And I would just designate that they're a substitute. But you'll be able to enter their regulatory checks and everything that if substitutes are utilized as staff, they would be required to have.
And I just want to say too, I know the question comes up a lot of times. They'll be like, I'm not sure who my licensing specialist is. If you go on the ADE's website and you go on child care licensing, there's a place that says who to contact. We keep that updated every time we have a change or anything. So you can always look on that to get who your specialist is, and they are very eager and willing to help you on any of these, besides just Allison and Deborah. They're all experts in ELS, and they're all willing to help.
Also, if this system does require you to update your password or to log in on a regular basis, and if you don't, it will sign you out and you would have to get a password reset. So if there's ever comes to where you are not able to get into your portal and you're using the right password, it's probably because you have not logged on within 90 days. So you simply contact your specialist, and they can ask to have your password reset and get you back into the system.
Thanks, Deborah. We had one question about scanning the QR code from your computer.
Is it not working?
You should be able to click on it. That's okay, Allison.
It works. I scanned the QR code.
Okay. Okay, it looks like it is working. If we are going to post this on the website, so just know you'll be able to come back to it if you're having difficulty right now. And we'll go ahead and move forward. I do want to point out, because I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but 3 of the items that Allison spoke about or mentioned that are in the PowerPoint, enrollment, curriculum, and ratios, are in a signed governor's executive order from 2023. Those are required. The executive order means those are required. So just know that, providers. I am checking that, and I do see sometimes that people haven't updated that information, but your curriculum, your ratios, and your enrollment should be in the enterprise licensing system that pulls to the public-facing website so that people, the community, parents can see that. So please be aware. And if you're not sure what that means, or if you need a little more assistance on that, please feel free to reach out to any of us in the Office of Early Childhood that are on this call. Send me an email. I'll drop my email in the box. I know Dawn and others have, but just want to make sure you guys are aware that that is an executive order and it is required. I think Brandy Ishman is up next. So Brandy, let you take it away.
as you all are aware, we have a wait list in the state right now. So can you all hear me? Okay, let me change my mic.
Can you hear me now? I
Yes, we can.
have trouble with my microphone. So just wanted to give you all just a few reminders and kind of a few updates in regard to CCDF. Unfortunately, we still have a wait list in the state for childcare assistance, but we do want to kind of point out or kind of reiterate the exemptions to that wait list that's been in place since February 15th. So I'll just kind of roll through these very quickly and I'll stop on the one that, we get the most calls about. So if you have teen parents, families that are experiencing homelessness, those folks do not go to the wait list. Any of our TANF or RT or ESS families, guardian custodians, if you have guardian custodians that have taken care for children that are not their own, those folks are eligible for services and they are exempt. However, that household cannot exceed 100% of the state median income. And if somebody could drop a link to that SMI chart into the chat box, that would be great. But that information is posted on our wait list. On our website, I'm sorry. So that is true for your guardian custodians, for your adoptive families, and for your childcare workers. So those folks can be over 85% of SMI, but they cannot exceed 100% of SMI. In addition, for your childcare workers, they must be working for your childcare site for a minimum of 10 hours per week. They still have to work a total of 20 hours per week, but it has to be 10 hours for an approved CCDF provider in order for them to be eligible. So I'm going to restate that a little bit for your childcare workers. Those folks can be over 85% of state median income, but they cannot exceed 100% of state median income. In addition to that, they have to be working for an approved, a CCDF participating childcare site for a minimum of 10 hours per week. We also have our children with special needs and our children who are transitioning from foster care. None of those people at this time will go to the wait list at all. Please put any questions you have in the chat box and we will attempt to get those answered for you. Patricia Johnson is going to come on and talk to you a little bit about professional development days and attendance records. Patricia.
Good afternoon. Let's talk about the professional development days. Right now, we are granting providers 5 days per calendar year for your professional development days. Those professional development days can include your learning, training for your facility, and you have to upload that documentation in your calendar that's in your SRA portal. We do have a guide available for the providers if you need assistance with that. Please make sure that you are adding those dates on your calendar in advance. If you wait until the date has passed, you're not going to be able to bill for that day. So please upload your training agenda or the registration confirmation in your SRA portal. You're going to choose that date. Once you choose that date, when that date becomes available, you'll be able to go in and select professional development day in your SRA portal and bill, but that have to be done in advance. Any questions related to professional development? Okay, so let's talk about the attendance records. Lately, we have been, we've randomly requested the attendance records from facilities, and back in April 2022, we did send out a memo stating that the staff are no longer allowed to sign the children in and out. That was one of the COVID protocols that we had put in place, but as of 2022, we actually took that away, and required the parents to come in to sign the children in and out. Lately, we have been seeing a lot of records with the staff signatures that have been submitted to us for review. Moving forward, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that all children must be signed in and out by parents, guardians, or authorized representatives to properly verify attendance. Electronic attendance records must include the full names of parents, guardian, authorized representative. Initials alone are not acceptable. Facilities found to be non-compliant with this requirement may be subject to an overpayment adjustment due to unverifiable records. This information is also outlined in our participant agreement that can be found in section 4D of your participant agreement. If you would like a copy of the participant agreement, that's also available on our website. And that's all I have. Thank you all.
I know there are questions coming in the chat box. If you guys can monitor those and make sure we get providers' questions answered in the remaining time. Yeah, I see several coming in specifically about signing for students, grandparents, etc. So if you guys can monitor and try to answer those questions, this will be recorded, but also please feel free to reach out to Brandy, Patricia, or anyone on that team. They can drop their emails in just so that you'll have it available in case you do have some very specific questions. I want to just, while we're kind of finishing up, I think that's all of the items that we had for today. I know we have some plans for July and August call. The next call is on July 1st at noon. So that'll be our next one. We probably will be covering on that call something that we had planned today, but are going to delay, but our high quality instructional material information will be on that call for sure. There will be some other items, but I wanted to make sure I let you know in advance because summertime sometimes gets a little chaotic for all of us. I want to make sure that you know at least one of the items we'll be covering. I also just want to acknowledge a colleague because this will be her last official provider call with us in the Office of Early Childhood, and that is my colleague Lori Bridges, who is retiring at the end of this month. So I know many of you know Lori from her work for many years in education and in early childhood specifically. Most recently, she's been leading up our work around content and professional development class. Prior to that, she was the administrator for the Arkansas Better Chance program for the past several years. And then before that, worked at Cabot School District running the early childhood program as their administrator. So I just want to say a big shout out to Lori and how much we're going to miss you here and how much we appreciate all the work that you have done over the many years. And we just wish you well in your next chapter. Also, I just want to shout out to all the providers and local leads who came to town hall meetings. For those of you that were unable to get away from your facilities, or maybe you're in a home and it was very difficult, we did a series of town hall meetings throughout the month of May on Wednesdays from 10 to 12 and hit 5 different communities in the state. We'll be doing 5 additional in the fall. Depending on attendance this fall, we may go to 1 series a year across the state, but they're very helpful for us. We get to have a lot of interaction, and I just want to really shout out to all of you who attended. We did get some really good information and feedback, and I do appreciate that. Sometimes you hear things that aren't accurate, so I just want to, say if you're hearing something that seems pretty implausible or unbelievable, check with us and make sure it's accurate. If something just doesn't feel right, it's okay to call and ask that question, like, is this correct information? There have been so many changes, and there's so many things happening right now that it would be easy to be overwhelmed with all the information and also get confused by the information. I do feel the need to continue to repeat that we do not work for the Department of Human Services. So I still get a lot of DHS and Human Services, and they're one of our state colleagues, and we are partners on things with the Department of Human Services, but we work for the Department of Ed, and all of the employees associated with the Office of Early Childhood work at the Department of Ed. we do have a handful of colleagues who still may be in a DHS county office because of space constraints. But we have moved many of our colleagues into public schools and educational service cooperatives or institutions of higher ed in the past year. But do know that we work for the Department of Ed. And so sometimes people call me and they're like, I've been calling DHS or I've sent something to DHS and no one's responded. And they probably are not going to because we no longer work there. So sometimes we get things and they may be able to patch it through. But if you're sending things to them and expecting a response, please know if it is not specific to their work, they're probably not going to respond if it's related to early childhood in any way, and specifically to our work. We can get a little fuzzy around maybe children and family services because we pay for childcare for foster care children, but most things that are early childhood related are going to be in the Office of Early Childhood. So just know that. We try to put our email addresses on this call. It's recorded, so go back and grab those, or you can go to the Department of Ed's website for that list. Dawn mentioned she has a licensing list there, but you can get the employee list from the department's website. So under elementary and secondary education. So just know that. Thank you for everything that you do. I know there seems to be quite a few questions, and I don't know if Patricia, I'll try to scan.
They're trying to answer it. I see it.
Okay. All right. I know there's a lot of people, and we do try to get your answers as soon as we can, as quickly as we can in this. But if we've missed anything, please reach out to Patricia or Brandy or Teresa Cooper. I think Grace Norton is on. Any of the employees in that unit, myself, we really want to help you and we want to get you the answers that you need.
Tanya?
If we've missed one. So we appreciate you so much. Laura, I don't know if you're
Yes, I just
okay.
want to remind our providers that we are in June, which is the end of our fiscal year. So, our system closes down towards the end of the month. And so we are not able to process payments during that time until the first week of July. So that's just a reminder, plan accordingly. You can bill every day if you want to. But that last week, we do not have an exact date as yet. And as soon as we have it, we'll send it out for those. But I just wanted to make sure that you have it in the back of your minds.
Thanks, Laura, for that very, very important reminder. It would be easy to get past June and have providers not know that. Many of you know during this month that we have end of year closeout for the entire state of Arkansas. And so, Laura, there are dates where the payment system, which is not at the Department of Education, but is at the Department of Finance Administration, called ACES, completely shuts down to transition to the new fiscal year. And so there's usually a few days where if your billing may go in, but you will not get paid until after the system during that window, until the system comes back up in July. So just know, I think they've really gotten it down to a very small period, but be aware that there could be delays. And then we go right into a holiday with 4th of July. So there could be some disruption, so just be paying attention. If you're having any difficulty with payment, let us know. I think generally things have been pretty smooth for the past several months, and so we appreciate you all. But please let us know, and don't assume that we do know that something's wrong. Sometimes you guys are the people who let us know, and we can alert our IT and or finance folks. So, but thanks, Laura. That is very important to be aware of during the month of June. So I think that's probably it. I don't want to hold you all any longer than we have to, but we will see you again in July and look forward to that call on July 1st at noon. So everybody stay safe and keep the
Tanya,
kiddos safe.
before everybody
Oh,
goes,
yes, Lori,
my
please.
computer decided to do the update. So I did get in on the very end, but I did want to just let all of our providers in early care and education employees over the state know that it has been an honor the last 5 years working with you through APC in the Office of Early Childhood, and continue to do the great work that you are doing with children and families across the state. And again, thank you for all the love that I'm seeing on the chat.
Thank you, Lori. We are going to miss her so much around here and all the things that she does. And we know that she's rooting for us wherever she is. And we wish her the very best and well in her next chapter. And it could be short. Maybe we'll see her again somewhere. But I do know at this time she's made a very personal decision and to take care of her family. And we honor that and just look forward to seeing Lori around. So thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
And with that, we will close out, gang, and see you in July. Have a great first part of summer. Stay cool.